What's up, guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 2021 Mazda 3 Hatchback Premium. Up front is a 2.5-liter inline-4, and down below is a 6-speed manual transmission. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, I am finally driving a manual 4th-generation Mazda 3. This has been on my bucket list to film because I personally own this generation of Mazda 3. However, I opted for the automatic and all-wheel drive. And I get asked all the time, why didn't you go with the manual? And there's a couple of reasons, but in all reality, I never got the opportunity to drive a manual, so I never knew if I was going to like it. So today, we're gonna find out together if this is a good manual transmission vehicle or not. But before we get on to anything else, if you would like to submit your own vehicle to be reviewed by me, you can head on over to my website, zachpretel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form, and you get a video of your personal vehicle, just like the one you're watching now, of this awesome manual Mazda 3. But let's get back to that 2.5-liter inline-4 making 186 horsepower. It is a fantastic little engine. I've put 81,000 miles on my 2.5-liter, and I haven't had any issues with it. However, because this vehicle is manual, the owner is averaging 31.1 miles to the gallon. Now, he does commute quite a far way for work, so that's where a lot of that fuel economy is going to come in, but 31.1 is definitely very, very good to see. But like I said, paired to it is a 6-speed manual transmission. Now, you can only get the manual paired to front-wheel drive. Unfortunately, you cannot get all-wheel drive and the stick shift, nor can you get the turbo engine with the stick shift. So if you do want the manual, you're stuck with front-wheel drive and a naturally aspirated engine. Oddly enough, Mazda only allows you to get it on the Premium, not on the base model, and not on any trim higher than the Premium. So definitely very weird, and we do have some features that go with that, but definitely interesting to say the least. How does the manual transmission feel? Well, unfortunately for me, it's fantastic. It really, really feels great. It's notchy. It goes right into gear. It has a nice solid throw. It's not even what I would expect out of a car like this. It's better than what I would expect. It's on par with the Mazda Miata. It's on par with a lot of other performance and driver-oriented vehicles. Mazda has positioned themselves as putting driving feel up at the top of their list, and that is very, very clear here with the transmission. The clutch has a decent weight to it. It's not too heavy, not too light. Feels hydraulic, and you have that consistent feel in the pedal. The shifter feels great, notchy, goes into gear, doesn't bump or squeak or give me any trouble when I'm trying to shift. It really is phenomenal. On par with really mid-2000s Hondas, which I give of the highest praise. I am really, 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 really impressed with this transmission. I wasn't sure I was going to be. I kind of figured this transmission would be a manual just for the sake of being a manual, and not much thought was put into it. But the fact that this is Mazda's only other manual vehicle besides the Miata, and the Miata's rear-wheel drive, so they can't reuse that transmission, the fact that this is its own transmission, it really feels like they gave it development time like it deserved. And I have never been more proud to be a Mazda 3 owner than when driving this car. Last but not least, like I said, because it is manual, we are stuck with front-wheel drive. However, you can find a Mazda 3 in all-wheel drive if you're okay with the automatic. So how does it feel to actually drive besides the manual transmission? Obviously, I said it's great. I think the 186 horsepower out of the 4-cylinder is good. Personally, I've never really wanted that much more power out of the Mazda 3, although for 2023, they actually did up it to 191 horsepower. Visibility is going to be the biggest downside of the Mazda 3. Forward visibility is all right. That doesn't bother me. Rearward visibility is pretty terrible. The first day I ever had my car, I almost merged into another car because I couldn't see it in the terrible giant C-pillars around the back. Upper trims do get a 360 camera, which is great, but you can't get the 360 camera with the manual, so you're stuck with the pretty terrible rear visibility. You do have blind spot monitoring. That helps, but I definitely wish I could see more out the back. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have 3 main gauges. Off to the left is my tachometer, in the center is my speedometer, and off to the right is my coolant temperature and fuel. I can adjust some settings inside the speedometer. I can flip through a couple pages. I usually leave this on the radar setting just because I think it looks the best. On the steering wheel, on the left, I have my volume, skip track, phone options, and info. Info is going to switch that center gauge. And off to the right, I have my radar cruise control options. So even though this has the manual transmission, all Mazda 3 hatchbacks get radar cruise, which is a fantastic feature I've used for thousands of miles in my personal vehicle, and I will not be purchasing another vehicle without that feature. Off to the left, I do have my bubble button. This turns the safety features like blind spot monitoring and cross traffic alert off, my traction control off button, and then my memory seat options, part of that premium package. Moving on to the door, more premium package options is that Bose speaker, as well as the lock and unlock, power mirrors, and power windows. Moving into the center, I do get a little infotainment screen. This has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Nothing really spectacular beyond that. Here's what the backup camera looks like. I think it's actually pretty good quality given the price point of this vehicle. I've driven Lexus products recently, mainly the LC500, that's $113,000, and I feel like this has a better backup camera than that. Down below, first of all, I do want to talk about, we do have this red leather interior, which is really, really cool to see. Then we have the climate controls. I love how concise and small and reserved these climate controls are. I think they look fantastic. They're easy to use. They're all buttons. There's none of that screen stuff that a lot of modern cars are switching to. And I do have heated seats, again, a premium package option. Then I have a USB in, and then we have a cubby and the cup holders. Before we do a big friggin' bottle test, I just want to point out they changed the cup holder design. I'm not sure if this has to do with because it's a manual or if because it's a newer version than my car, but the 2019 has closable cup holders, while this does not. They actually sort of mold into that front cubby. So I've made a shocking discovery, and this might be a world first, but this is my 2019 Mazda 3. This appears to be a 1-year only cup holder because it actually opens. I look back at my footage. This is of the 2020. This is of the 2021 turbo. And of course, this video's 2021 manual transmission cup holders. So it appears that 2019 is the only year to get the opening cup holders. Very, very strange. However, because it is the cup holder, we will do a big friggin' bottle test. And although they did change it, they didn't change the size. So it still, unfortunately, fails the big friggin' bottle test. Then we come to the shifter. Now, this is different than anything I've driven before. I think it looks really, really good. It's presentable, it's handsome, it doesn't feel cheap or flimsy or rubbery, which is very, very exciting and very, very nice to see in the Mazda 3. Then we do have the controls for the infotainment system. This is the sort of rotary dial that Mazda's been doing since the start of this generation, which was 2019. And I love it. I think it has great tactile feedback. Off to the left is my parking brake and auto holding brake, and off to the right is my volume and favorite button. I like that you can hit next track with the volume button by moving it to the left or right. Then we do get a center console, 12-volt outlet, and USB in there. And then we got to talk about the seats. The seats are finished in the same red leather that we found on the rest of the interior. They are heated, power, and memory, and they are very, very pleasant. I have spent thousands of miles in these seats, and I don't seem to have any back issues as of yet, so that's good to see. However, speaking of seats, we do have back seats, so let's go do a back seat review. All right, so we're in the back of the 2021 Mazda 3 Premium, and a couple of things to note. First of all, the driving position is a little bit further up than I would probably have it. That is the owner's driving position. And so I actually do have knee room for once in my life. However, the back seats of the Mazda 3 hatch are definitely a very, very large downside. The Honda Civic does the back seats way better. I think the Corolla does them worse. So in that ranking system, this is second best out of those three. If you really have to prioritize back seat space, but you want the manual front wheel drive, naturally aspirated engine, the Honda Civic from the current year is pretty good as well. Back here, I don't have any crazy amenities. I do get to enjoy this sunroof, which again was added with the premium package and not available on the base model. But I also do have a little center console back here, 2 cup holders, nothing really crazy to write home about. I still don't get vents down here in the center, which I learned was a big misstep because I drove a bunch of people to a wedding last year. It was a really hot summer day. It was like 100 degrees. We had the AC blasting up front and we were freezing, but the people in the back in their suits and dresses were absolutely boiling in the back. So we had to sort of aim the vents back here, which was a whole mess. So I wish that Mazda gave you vents back here. However, not the end of the world. I am actually decently comfortable back here with the driver's seat moved up. But again, this is not a strong suit of the Mazda 3. Speaking of space, however, let's hop in the very back. We'll take a quick look at the trunk and cargo space, and then we'll talk about the looks. All right, so we're on the back of the Mazda 3 hatchback. Little button under here and pull up. And you do get plenty of cargo space. Actually, as of the morning of making this, Savage Geese just released a video of their long-term 2023, and they complained about the cargo space. However, I do have a caveat to that. I have slept in the back of here with the seats down. They said in the video that they couldn't fit 4 large wheels in here. That's not true. I have fit 4 large wheels in here. This is plenty of space. I've gone on 2-week trips. I went on a 5-week road trip around the country, and all my stuff fit back here without even putting the second row of seats down. So, plenty of cargo space in the Mazda 3. You do get a nice little LED light. However, you don't get a 12-volt outlet. I would have liked to have seen that. And you can come down here, and it does have a spare tire, which is lovely to see, and that is the extra Bose speaker. So, tons of space, plenty of space, and I love that about the Mazda 3. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and this, because it does have the premium package, has different headlights and taillights. They have a little bit more design to them. They light up a little bit differently, and I think that they look fantastic. I wish my own car had these, but let's do a walk around. This is the polymetal gray, and I love the look of it. I love the black wheels. I fell in love with my car because of the way it looks, and obviously this looks the same. So I love this car as well. I think the Mazda 3 is really, really sharp for the 2021 model year, and this is still, as of the filming of this video, the current Mazda 3 out on sale, and I still think it's one of the best economy hatches you can buy, or at least sub $30,000. I think this has to be one of the best looking cars you can buy with today's money. But with all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving the Mazda 3 hatchback with a 6-speed manual? Well, the downsides are few and far between. I would say really the only big downside to me is that rearward visibility. It's not great. But I think this car is amazing. I really, really enjoy it. How do I feel driving the manual? Did I make the right decision when purchasing my own Mazda 3? And at the end of the day, I think I did make the right decision with going with the all-wheel drive and automatic. But that's because it fits my lifestyle better. I travel a lot. I drive a lot. And all-wheel drive has been very, very helpful for me in the snow. Driving through deep snow, living somewhere that I don't have a plow service come and bail me out anytime it snows. It's a rare occasion that a plow actually comes down my street, and it's usually several hours, if not days, after the snow has fallen. So I need all-wheel drive sometimes with my BlizzX tires that you're seeing now that I've rather enjoyed. But that's not to say this manual's bad. I love this manual transmission. This has really, really opened my eyes. I thought it was going to be some cheap economy box taken out of some weird foreign car we've never heard of, put their iActive or SkyActive, whatever name on the side of it, and slap it into this thing. And maybe they did do that. I don't know the engineering specs of this transmission, but it most certainly doesn't feel that way. Feels nice. It's engaging. The shifter throw is exactly how I want it to be. And in my life of life, yeah, I wish my lifestyle would allow me to have the front wheel drive and the manual because it's just so dang good. This car has moved back up in front of the Honda Civic and Toyota Corolla for me. If I were looking for a naturally aspirated manual hatchback of the modern era, of those three vehicles I've driven recently, the Mazda 3 would still be in my garage. And that's nice for me to hear. It kind of reaffirms that, yeah, I bought the right car. And Shu bought the right car as well. Huge thank you to Shu for letting me take out his Mazda 3 with the manual. I was so excited to drive this car. It really, really is just fabulous. I've been offered one of these to film down in Georgia. If that's your car, thank you so much for offering that up. Shu was very close to me in proximity. It took me only a couple minutes to get here today. So I am very thankful that he reached out and we were able to make this video. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.